What is up, everybody? Welcome back to, do I say another episode because it's been so long? Do we even count the first ones? I don't know.
No,
But welcome
I
back.
don't think that we count the first ones because I think this could actually be a reoccurring thing on the channel if the Deadbirds actually do continue to suck.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. So I guess welcome to DEADBIRDS Discussion, your go-to listen for Cardinals baseball coverage. But Braden, no, I don't. I was going to say I wish that we'd be here to talk positive about Deadbirds baseball, but we're not. We're here to. They beat the Rockies tonight. Let's start off with that. They beat the Rockies by a final score of 9-6.
Yep.
And but before I say anything, I'm just gonna let you go. So, like, what are your reactions? So, okay, because we could start anywhere, honestly, because this is our first episode of the season. So, I'll just take the stage.
I was starting spring training and the World Baseball Classic. So we had 17 players leave for the World Baseball Classic, which was the most out of any other team. I think the Astros might have also had 17 or they had 16. They were close. But we had a lot of people leave. Fine, whatever, who cares? Most everybody gets back. And even with everybody gone, we had the best record in spring training. Now, that usually doesn't mean anything, and we're usually pretty bad in spring training. And it's spring training. Nobody gives a shit. But from what we saw, I expected that the pitching staff would have been pretty solid because Steven Matz and Jake Woodford looked really damn good in spring. Like Woodford had, I think it was a 7-inning start against the Yankees, where he didn't allow a single run, and he was just good. And Matz, I think, had like a ERA under 2 and over 25 innings. Like, I was not confident in the pitching staff going into the season, and then I saw spring training, and I'm like, okay, I'm not as confident in Flaherty or Montgomery, but Michaelis is going to be fine. Flaherty and Montgomery are going to be And then Woodford played his way into the rotation, especially with Wainwright being out. Then we got to opening day. It's the Blue Jays. Michaelis got shelled. He didn't look good. Whatever. The offense was great, and it kept us in the game. Then Marmol made an absolutely fucking atrocious decision and put in Jordan Hicks in the 8th inning as our setup man because Gio was had a back injury after the WBC. Why the hell are we still using Jordan Hicks in high leverage situations, especially when the Blue Jays offense was going off? Hicks is not good. We need to stop using him. He has no place on this team. He is a complete liability in every way. There's no reason to send him out there unless we are down by multiple runs. So if we didn't do that, I think that we win that game, even though Helsley was dog shit in the top of the 9th. But whatever. Then we go off and win the next 2 games. Cool. Flaherty didn't look great. Had 7 walks. Montgomery allowed 3 runs in 5 innings, but besides that, I think it was the 2nd or 3rd inning where he let up all those runs. He was fine. He got through 5 and was clean. And then the Braves series started. That's where it all went wrong. We could not pitch at all. Like, Matz and Woodford got fucking shelled. Then Michaelis got shelled on Wednesday, and the offense was fucking horrible. They couldn't hit with runners in scoring position. They just couldn't do they couldn't do jack shit. And this, like, it all really started after O'Neill ran home from third on that play that Acuna threw him out, and then Marmol decided to make that fucking comment. I'll let you go into that because I was working with the Royals while that happened, and I watched it after the fact, and you watched it live. But everything about that situation is so fucking wrong, and Marmol has small man syndrome because he's so fucking insecure, and he tries to be this big macho man and be like, look at me, I'm the manager, I'm in control here. Like, no, fuck off. He was like, he just completely threw O'Neill under the bus, and O'Neill's response was perfect as well.
Yeah, so I watched that play happen live, and because I know, as you said, you were working with the Royals, so you weren't watching. But I thought, and it doesn't get talked about enough, still, in my opinion, that Pop Warner, the third base coach, should just not have sent O'Neill, and he sent him because, like, I know you had asked me about that. I was like, or you said, did he send him, or was it like O'Neill's decision? And I mean, O'Neill just looked at the third base coach. He was telling him to go home, so he went home, and he just had zero chance. Like, Pop Warner needs to read that better, because he also did the exact same thing, I think, the game after.
Yeah, with Goldie.
With Goldie.
Well, okay, no, it wasn't the exact same thing, because that game I was watching, Warner was like halfway out in fucking left field. Like, he was nowhere near the third base. He was nowhere near third base, and Goldie just had to figure it out on his own. Yeah, because Warner was nowhere fucking near the play.
Yeah, but similar situation.
He was just wandering around.
Yeah, similar situation though, and I remember you tweeted out like, "Oh, are we going to bench Goldie now? Was he not given 100% effort? Whatever." I can understand.
It's a double standard, because you can make the exact same argument that Goldie wasn't running 100% and O'Neill wasn't running 100% on this on extremely similar plays. You can make the exact same argument, but Marmol's not going to throw Goldschmidt under the bus, because he's our big name and he has a big contract. He knows that he can bully O'Neill, because O'Neill doesn't matter that much in the terms of contracts and locker room presence. So Marmol can just bitch him around.
And so, like, if I'm Marmol, or I can understand Marmol like questioning a player's effort, that's fine. But the way that he did it publicly was pretty, I think it was pretty messed up, because it's not even like you can 100% prove that Tyler O'Neill wasn't, trying his hardest on that play.
Maybe Ronald Acuna just has the second best arm out in right field in MLB. It's not like that's literally been proven by every single fucking metric.
And then again, like Pop Warner, I think he's a big factor in that situation, and it wasn't really getting talked about. But like you said, O'Neill he handled it fine. Ollie Marmol, look, I can appreciate a manager that's tough on his players and like is willing to ask the tough questions, but that's a matter that needs to be handled privately. And also, Marmol seems to be more of a tear you down type of guy than a constructive criticism type of guy. Like you said, a little bit of small man syndrome. Like, it's not even like he's really doing anything to fix the issues. He just kind of sits back and bitches about them.
Yeah. You saying that made me think about Dennis and how, like, I love how Dennis handles games. When they lose, he says, guys played good tonight. When they win, like after they beat Kentucky, he said, we can play better.
Yeah, he said that basically after even after they beat number 6 Tennessee, he was like, we were terrible.
He's like, we shouldn't have won off of a buzzer beater from half court.
Yeah, because they were up big in that game to begin with. But yeah, I'm just
and Marmol does the exact opposite of that. When we lose, he tears you down, and then when we win, he's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, Marmol, I have not been a big fan of him already. There was also an incident the other night. I think it was yesterday actually, against the Rockies, where Wilson Contreras, I think, clearly tagged the guy out.
Yeah.
And Marmol didn't even challenge it.
Nope.
And it's like, oh, so why wasn't Marmol sprinting to the umpire to go challenge that? Huh? Should we be questioning Marmol now? Is he doing his job? Is he giving 100%?
I mean, I don't like Marmol. He's going to get the rest of this year. He'll probably get next year as well. But I really am questioning the entire management structure of this team, because I'm going to say it. I didn't like Jeff Albert that much. I thought that we were way too patient at the plate sometimes. And I get that that's like a good approach to just make the pitchers work and get deep into somebody's bullpen because, I mean, that's where you're going to find a lot of success. But I fucking miss them, dude. I mean, we're doing nothing but hitting the ball on the ground off of the first or second pitch. And it's ridiculous. I mean, we can't do shit. The last night against the Rockies, first 9 batters were all ground outs. I mean, that's ridiculous. Like, I get that your main Marquez is a ground ball pitcher, but 9 in a row to lead off the game. That's bullshit, especially when you have the talent that we have.
Yeah, and even when runners have been in scoring position or they've had guys on base, they've
Oh
just
my God.
they've
Yeah.
been terrible. And
That entire fucking Brewers series. I mean, we haven't touched on that, but that entire fucking Brewers series, dude. The Friday night game, we had bases loaded on, I think it was 3 separate occasions. And then we just took absolutely atrocious swings. We had bases loaded, then Contreras hit into a double play. We had bases loaded. O'Neill had a 3-1 count, swung at the worst possible pitch. Like, it was such a fucking bad pitch. And he swung on a 3-1 and grounded right to the second baseman. If he took it, it would have been ball 4, and I think we would have tied it. Like, when this team gets down outside of tonight, I was like, when we were down 6-2, I'm like, we can still come back because we've been hitting the ever-loving shit out of the ball. Like, I kind of expected us to come back tonight, at least a little bit. I didn't really think that we were going to win, so that was impressive. But I wasn't that surprised when I saw that Arenado tied it. But that entire Brewers series, like that Sunday when we got down, it was 4-1 or at some point. I'm like, yeah, it's over. I'm like, there's a massive difference between what everybody's been saying is, oh, it's just not their night. It hasn't been their night the entire fucking season.
Yeah, I remember
seeing there's a different mindset and a different like vibe of the team when it's not their night and they are like hitting the ball hard. It's line drives. They're just getting super unlucky, just sloppy mistakes on the base pass or an error or two. That's not their night. And that happens once every 2 weeks. No, this team is just, they're playing bad. They are a bad baseball team right now. They get down, they get behind, and they don't fight back. They haven't fought back outside of tonight.
Yeah, they tend to roll over and die, and these losses aren't very competitive. Tonight was a step in the right direction, being down, 5-2, 6-2.
6-2.
Yeah, and then clawing their way back and making a late comeback there, an offensive surge that was much needed. But yeah, no, it's been frustrating with they haven't really capitalized on opportunities on offense, and a lot of ground outs, a lot of strikeouts. Well, I wouldn't say a lot of strikeouts, but I know Wilson Contreras in
Wilson
particular
has looked completely fucking lost at the plate, dude. He just like he looks like Yachty in disguise with worse defense. I mean, he has not looked good.
Yeah, I don't know what it is because I thought he was the big offensive boost that this team needed.
Oh, he was the reason that payroll went up by 0.11 fucking percent.
Yeah, thanks, Mo.
Thank you.
But I thought really that Wilson Contreras was the offensive, kind of weapon that this team needed, a perfect complement to Arenado and Goldie in the lineup. And he just hasn't been that at all. His strikeout rate is atrocious. And like you said, he looks lost at the plate. And
O'Neill looks completely lost at the plate too. I need to get that out of the way. He had a good hit in the 9th inning tonight, but even in that at bat, he took an absolutely horrible swing on a slider that was outside. It was bad.
Yeah,
and then he came back and got a hit, but still, like, he is taking bad swings, and like it's not sustainable for him to get hits. And like during that Brewer series, we had the highest average in the league, and I think that our team average is still pretty high. I don't give a fuck how high our average is because we're not hitting with runners in scoring position. Like during that Brave series, we had runners on base almost every single inning. Same thing with the Brewer series, runners on base almost every single inning. We couldn't get them home. I don't give a fuck how high our average is. We're not hitting home runs. We're hitting the ball on the ground. So sure, we get a bloop single and then we hit a double play.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. And Wilson Contreras, again, going back to him real quick, like I was excited about that signing for the Deadbirds because he, even though he wasn't Yachty at all defensively, I thought the gap between him and Yachty offensively really made up for the fact that he's not as great of a defender as Yachty was, because he was just he was an upgrade, in my opinion, from Yachty, at least in the late stages of his career, just because the offense was so much better than Contreras was worse defensively, if that makes sense. But it just hasn't been the case. And O'Neill, I remember you said during one of the games that Marmol was right about O'Neill because he was terrible.
That was when he took that swing on that 3-1 pitch.
Yeah,
against the Brewers with the bases loaded, which, like, if he took a walk, we would have really been back in that game. But no, like, after that, I'm like, Marmol was right. O'Neill's completely fucking lost. And, like, O'Neill was he was fine in the Blue Jays series, and he was fine in that first game against the Braves. But once Marmol said that, like, he's been bad ever since then. And I just remember this. Last year during their arbitration hearing, it was a very, like, O'Neill was very unsat. Like, he was hurt because Mozeliak and Ollie and all these guys came out and said, like, yeah, he's not good at this, 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 and this. And he's like, yeah, they could have handled it better. So, like, this management just continuously beating down on our entire outfielders. I'll get to Dylan Carlson in a minute when you bring him up later, but they just love to beat down on our offense or on our outfielders, and it's ridiculous because it's clearly affecting their play.
Well, go ahead, talk about Dylan Carlson. Why not?
Okay, Dylan Carlson is the Jordan Walker, love him. I'll talk about him in a bit. Dylan Carlson is the best outfielder that we have. Said it. There. Don't care. Dylan Carlson is he's probably behind Tommy Edman. He's probably my second favorite player on the team. Goldschmidt and Arenado, yeah, everybody loves him. Cool. I love Dylan Carlson in the way that he plays. He was great last year. And then he hurt his thumb. And then Ollie and the management team said, go out there and play. We need an outfielder. Since Bader's hurt, we need a center fielder. So Carlson went out there, played for like almost an entire fucking month with a hurt left thumb. And then once Nootbaar came on the scene, then he finally went to the IL. And I mean, during that time, he was fucking horrible at the plate. But the fact that he played through it is extremely admirable. And he was really fucking good up until that point. Like, sure, he didn't have any power, but I mean, he's elite defensively in center field. He is a plus bat who's going to, like, if you give him good opportunities, he's going to have a 120 OPS or WRC plus. And like, his percentiles on Baseball Savant weren't the greatest last year. To start this year, they've been fucking phenomenal. He's been hitting the ball extremely hard. He's been hitting the ball extremely well to start this year. And they're just not playing him. There's no reason to play O'Neill in center. That the third game, the Sunday game against the Brewers, my biggest complaint, I was so fucking mad that Carlson wasn't in the lineup. He has to be in the lineup against lefties every single night, and he wasn't in the lineup tonight against Kyle Freeland. Carlson is so much better against lefties and batting from the right side of the plate, and so is Edman. And there's no reason that him and Carlson shouldn't just bat right-handed all the time, because specifically Edman, his swing is just so much better from the right. But more on Carlson. that third game against the Brewers, Burleson completely misplayed a ball and left. And I know it had like an expected batting average of like 890 or some shit, but I guarantee to you that Carlson or O'Neill makes that play and left. Burleson was completely lost. And there is like Carlson should be in center every single day. He is that good in center field defensively. And even when he's playing, he's not playing in center because they want to make O'Neill the center fielder, which makes no sense. O'Neill is a gold glove left fielder. He is not making a good transition as center. He's looked lost out there. He's misplayed a couple of balls. He's misplayed multiple balls. So Carlson should be in center every single day. I don't care about his offense because we have enough offense right now. We need somebody who can control the outfield. And specifically in a stadium like Coors where we're playing right now, that is an extremely difficult outfield to play. And you should have Carlson out there controlling the outfield every single day. And the fact that he's not is it is a failure of management by Marmol. It is complete. It's just fucking stupid to not have Carlson out there. Like, yeah, Burleson's great offensively. I do not understand why we're continuing to bat Jordan Walker down in like the 7 hole. He's our third best hitter on the team right now. He is our third best player already. He has an 11-game hit streak to start his career, which is the longest ever. Move him up into the 2 hole. Why the fuck are we still playing? Why was Tommy Edman batting 2 tonight? My favorite player, love Tommy Edman. Why the hell is he batting in the 2 hole? No, he's a 9 hole hitter. Sorry, love him. He's going to hit 11 home runs with like 60 RBIs and have 30 stolen bases and at like 280 with a 320 on base. And he's going to be right around league average on his OPS, and then he's going to have the best glove in baseball. That is Tommy Edman. And the fact that he's batting second when Jordan Walker should be batting there, and then the lineup looks so much better. And then that opens the door to have defensive substitutions and alignments, even when Carlson is still really fucking good offensively because he's batting like 340 right now. And yeah, Burleson I think he's looked really good offensively, but he's not good defensively. And I like Brendan Donovan. He's kind of the second coming of Tommy Edman outside of his glove isn't as good because, again, Tommy Edman's, in my opinion, the best defender in baseball. Donovan can play everywhere, but he's not looked the greatest at the plate. And I get that he's got a puck bat and he has a more power approach, but he really needs to hit for average because continuing to bat him leadoff is just not working that well because his on base is like 250 right now.
Yeah, I would say that Ali has mismanaged the lineup a little bit. The obsession with Alec Burleson is a little strange, and I agree with everything that you said. I want to talk about the starting pitching, though, because it's obviously been the biggest problem with this team. And actually, that was something that shouldn't be looked past tonight just because the Cardinals won. The starting pitching was still terrible. And it kind of reminds me, so like you remember the beginning of the 2021 Kansas City Chiefs season. This is the year we went to the Bills game together.
Mm-hmm.
And oh gosh, so that year we lost to the Ravens, lost to the Chargers, lost to the Bills, and it was clear that the team just wasn't that good. And then we had a game against the Washington football team. And we won that game like 31-13, and all the fans are saying, "Oh, we fixed it, guys. We're back. Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. You know, we got this." And it's like, but Washington wasn't very good. That was just a game that the Chiefs happened to win, but a lot of the same issues.
Didn't look good in that Washington game.
Right. And because a lot of the issues that were plaguing them and their losses were still prevalent in the Washington game. They just were able to get the win. That's exactly how I see this Cardinals Rockies game is, they won, but no one's jumping for joy over this. At least they shouldn't be. And the starting pitching
wins like this aren't sustainable at all. You can't literally, I hate using this as an excuse, but it's Coors. Like, genuinely, this is not sustainable. You cannot score 9 runs every single night and have your starting pitcher allow 6 runs and expect to win.
Yeah,
That's
it's not
not
sustainable.
sustainable at
And the
all.
starting pitching has just been awful. Miles Michaelis
We have
at
had one quality start. Like, everybody's saying, oh, it's been a bad week. The pitching just needs to get their stuff together. No, we are 2 times through the rotation, about to go through a third. We have one quality start. One. And that was Jordan Montgomery, who went 7 innings against the Brewers on Saturday. That is it.
And
Sure, Flaherty's gone 5 innings and is only allowed 2 runs, but he's had fucking 13 walks in 10 innings. That's not sustainable. It is going to catch up to him, and he's going to have a start where he only goes 2 innings and allows like 7 or 8 runs. Woodford and Matz, I believed in them. I thought that they were going to be good. I was wrong. They look fucking abysmal. And I get that Miles Michaelis has been the worst pitcher ever in Coors, and his first 2 starts were against the Braves and the Blue Jays. But here's the thing: the Braves and the Blue Jays, those are the kind of teams we're going to have to fucking play in the playoffs. Those are the teams we'd have to play in October. If we can't beat them in the regular season, I don't give a fuck if we beat the Rockies. I don't give a fuck if we beat the Reds or the Pirates or the Nationals or the Marlins or the Giants, who are okay. But just like, I don't give a shit if we beat non-playoff teams. I don't care.
You should be beating them.
Exactly. It should be expected. We shouldn't be fighting tooth and nail in losing series against them. Because we have to win those games. Those are games that we expect to win. Now, we lose 2 out of 3 to the Braves. Fine, whatever. But getting swept by them, embarrassment after embarrassment after embarrassment every single game, that, like, I'm sorry, but like, my mind is already set on where this team's going. I have watched Cardinals baseball for the past decade, and since the entire mindset after 2015 was just get to the playoffs and let's see what happens. Like, it is fully just make it to the dance. Like, they are betting on a miracle run practically. They're betting on becoming like the Giants, like a 6 seed football team to go on a run. Like, that's not what you do.
Well, so like Brendan Kiley of 101 ESPN in St. Louis, I sent that tweet to the group chat earlier today, or I think maybe you had sent the thread. Either way, he was bringing up the record of teams that went to the World Series.
Sports Central.
Yeah, and so they were bringing up records of teams through like the first couple weeks of the season.
That was Kindly who was bringing that up.
Yeah, went to the World Series or won the World Series, and someone pointed out that the difference with those teams is, they had like a Kershaw type of pitcher that like they could lean on. You don't really have a pitcher like that in this rotation that you can lean on.
We don't have a 2019 Jack Flaherty or a 29 through 2012 Adam Wainwright and Chris Carpenter. We don't have an ace. We don't have a number 2. We maybe have a number 3 with Montgomery. Maybe.
Here's the way I see it. So I thought that the Deadbirds pitching rotation was solid. It hasn't even been that. Like, it's worse than I even thought.
It has been the worst pitching staff in the league.
Yeah, it's been bad. And it's sad.
And like, we can't use the excuse that we've been playing good teams and that we've played in Coors. Like, that's literally exactly what it is. It's a fucking excuse, because there are no excuses in October. And I get that it's the first couple of weeks. 3 straight series against good teams to start the year, and you go 3-7 or 3-6. No. Sorry. My mind's made up.
Well, it's sad because, like, I feel like Michaelis, with Wainwright being out at least, was supposed to be kind of your steady presence. He's not great. He's not an ace, but like, you kind of know what you're getting out of him. Whereas like Montgomery and Flaherty, those types of guys, like, they're going to be up and down. Like, that's just what comes with them. Flaherty's actually been okay. Obviously, a lot of walks, but
He's good at working around the trouble. He's basically what Dakota Hudson was in 2019 when everybody thought that he was really good. When in reality, I've never liked Dakota Hudson. I'd like to put that plain and simple, like right out there. I never liked Dakota Hudson. So when everybody was so surprised that he was absolute dog shit after he came back from Tommy John last year, I wasn't.
Yeah.
Because like what Flaherty is doing right now is exactly what Dakota Hudson did in 2019. His FIP and ERA difference was almost 2 points.
Yeah, and Flaherty, at least he's not going in there and getting shellacked, kind of like Michaelis tonight.
But he's gonna give you a heartache every single inning.
Exactly.
And that's not sustainable. That's not like you are not going to be able to do that for 30 games.
He's like the starter version of 2018 Craig Kimbrell. Like he's getting the job done, but like he said, he gives you a heart attack all the way until he gets pulled out of the game or until he finishes the game. And yeah, that's not a and he's one of your top 3 starters right now, and that's just not a place that
he's our number 2 right now.
Yeah, if you consider yourself a World Series contender. And I thought that the Braves series was a good early season barometer. Because like all the Cardinals fans really wanted to see early this season is, did we take a step forward? Did we do enough to close the gap between us and the top teams in the NL, the Braves of the world, the Dodgers of the world, which I know the Dodgers have been terrible to start, but I mean,
they've been okay. Terrible by Dodger standards.
Right. But, fans wanted to see, like, what have you done to close the gap between those teams? And it kind of seems like through 2 weeks, nothing. They haven't closed the gap at all.
No.
And
they were completely overmatched against the Braves. In every asset of the game. They were completely overmatched.
And that's where this goes back to Mo, who promised Nolan Arenado a better team if he opted back in.
And then he was quoted saying, "We have 6 starting pitchers."
And that's the quote, and that's the one that everyone's like kind of tweeting out.
I have tweeted it over under almost every single Cardinals post after they post the final score. I honestly should have done it tonight still.
It's unfortunate
because we don't have any starters.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because, and I said this to you earlier today, it seems like with this front office that they like to clutch on to mediocre to solid starting pitchers so hard because they're not willing to go out there and spend for a star. And they're okay with bringing back 40-year-old Adam Wainwright because it's Waino. Why not bring him back?
He should have gone out last year.
Yeah, he can be our number 1. Why not? Just one more year. He's got it in him, but like he's not like Waino. Even last year, Waino was fine, but like he's not a top end starter.
Okay, and Waino was great last year up until that Braves start where he got hit by a comebacker and then that fucked up his windup for the rest of the year, and Mike Maddox did absolutely nothing to realize it or fix it. So then his ERA skyrocketed, but before that, his ERA was settling right around 3. And then after that, it jumped up to like 3.6. So Waino was great last year outside of those final couple starts because of he just got fucking lit up because of the change in his windup, and it messed up his rhythm. The fact that Mike Maddox didn't recognize that, I'm glad that he's gone now. But watching Wainwright in the World Baseball Classic, he's cooked. He's cooked. Like, I think that Wainwright that we saw in middle of August and September, those final 6 starts last year, I think that's the new Wainwright.
And it's sad to say, and it just makes your starting rotation look even worse when we already know now at least that.
I mean, if he can somehow come back and just like get in that locker room, just big dick in the locker room, go in there, whip everybody into shape, and just go out there and have like 3 straight starts where he has 8 innings, 2 strikeouts, and like 3 hits, and he just does that for a couple starts, and then everybody has to try and match that because Wainwright has that in them. He always will. He will always have that ability to just go out there and control a couple games a season because it's fucking Adam Wainwright, kind of like you said. Now, I don't think that we should have brought him back under $17.5 million. But Wainwright still does have that ability. And I do think that if he does go out there and do that, and we bring up somebody like Matthew Liberatore and tell Steven Matz to go get his ass to the bullpen, because Liberatore's looked fucking phenomenal in Memphis. So if we have Wainwright and Liberatore come up and Wainwright goes back to through July of last year and Liberatore looks good, and then Michaelis steadies himself out and looks fine, then that's a okay top three. And then Jordan Montgomery and Jack Flaherty is your 4 and 5. Fine.
But even that
is
like
even
best
then,
case scenario, and it's not
those. Yeah, that is absolute best case scenario. Absolute best case scenario. And even then, once we get into those September games where we're playing really good fucking teams and we really need to win them against teams like the Braves, like the Dodgers, like the fucking Diamondbacks, I think they're going to be good, like the Brewers, because we have a big series against them in Milwaukee in September. We only go to Milwaukee 2 times this year, and we've already gone once. So, like, that series against Milwaukee in September, I guarantee you, if we're going into that and they have Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, and Freddie Peralta as their 1, 2, 3, if we go into that with our top 3, which would be Michaelis, Wainwright, and maybe Liberatore, if he gets caught up, and if it's not him, then it'd be Montgomery, we're fucked. Plain and simple. We are fucked. We are not winning a single game, or maybe we might win one. But like the starting pitching, it's not competitive at all.
It's not good enough.
But
it's
we
not
have
good enough.
6. We have 6 starters.
Yeah.
Fuck
Thanks,
me,
Mo. And it's unfortunate. It's frustrating for Cardinals fans because Mo promised Nolan Arenado, who could have made a lot more money than he's making now.
He could have made a fuck ton of money with the contracts that were given out this offseason. He chose to stay and left well over $150 million on the table.
And if you're him, you have to be like, Arenado's always just kind of been easygoing dude. He doesn't show too much emotion, especially during the games. But
I'd say he does.
Sure.
Okay, for the Cardinals, he definitely does, because we have fucking Paul Goldschmidt, who just, I'm just doing my job.
Yeah, and he's more so like that the way I'm trying to describe Arenado. But what I was gonna say is it even seems like Arenado sometimes, like when the camera pans over to him, he's like he's thinking to himself, like, what the fuck? Like, we were supposed to be so much better than this. Like, Mo promised me a better team. And it's just not, like, you can't look at this Cardinals team. Like, okay, yeah, Jordan Walker's been a great story to start the season. He seems like he's going to be really good this year.
I fucking love Jordan Walker. I followed him since we first drafted him.
Yeah, and then, like, Wilson Contreras, like, yeah, he's been bad, but, like, I think he'll figure it out.
Contreras will get it together.
Yeah, he'll get it together. And so, like, you have stuff like that, but even with that, you can't look at this Cardinals team and say, yeah, they're better than last year.
No, you can't, because the starting pitching is just that bad.
Yeah.
Like, I do not care if the offense averages 5 or 6 runs a game. We're going to lose most of those games because of how fucking atrocious the starting pitching is and how fucking atrocious Ollie's managing it. Because he's not going to.
And then on top of it, he's causing locker room rifts.
Uh-huh. And he's organizing the lineup horribly, and he's not playing Dylan Carlson, which pisses me off because I fucking like Dylan Carlson, and he's a great defensive center fielder, and he's obviously making big strides offensively as well, because he's hitting the ball significantly harder, and he's making a lot more contact, and he looks better, and we're not playing him. And this is a name that I want to mention as well. Juan Yepes. Why the fuck isn't he playing every day?
He's always been good every time.
He's been fucking great. He was the only guy to do anything offensively last year in the postseason. Yeah. Only guy. He had a massive 2-run home run in the 7th inning.
He provided a lot of offensive spark last year. Like, you know, like if you follow the MLB home runs account, like on Twitter, like Juan Yepes, his name was always popping up on there. He was one of their better offensive players last year.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, he strikes out a decent amount, but there's no reason why, like, no, he should not be playing any defense whatsoever. But when we're up against lefties, like, when there is no reason that he should not be the DH. Like, he should be the DH against lefties and against some righties, even when Gorman needs an off day or something.
yeah.
And Gorman's been fucking phenomenal as well. Gorman's been great. I love Nolan Gorman. Always have.
And fans have to be getting antsy. They have to be getting, like I already said like 1,000 times, that they're frustrated. But like you mentioned this, and it's a conversation Cardinals fans don't want to have. But you only have really a couple more years of like this good Arenado and Goldschmidt.
Yeah.
Before like they start tailing off, like you said, Goldschmidt, he's only got a couple more years of putting up 30 plus home runs a year. And it's just not something he's going to continue to do well into his 30s. And Arenado's right behind him in that regard. And so it's going to be like, I don't know how Mo survives the Arenado Goldschmidt window, resulting in, at best, a wild card appearance. Like like Goldschmidt and Arenado were MVP. They were right. They were 1 and 2 for NL MVP last
1 and
year.
3, but yeah. I mean, still, you have 2 of the top 3 MVP candidates.
Right. And you can't even.
And then you have a 41 or however fucking old Pujols was last year. Then you have Pujols coming out and being a top 10 OPS. Like, he had a top 10 OPS in the NL last year.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And then
and we're about to get. We're basically getting the second coming of Albert Pujols with Jordan Walker.
Yeah, and in the latter months of the season, Pujols was actually one of their most clutch hitters.
He was the reason why we won games in September. Our offense was fucking abysmal in September last year until it was the 9th inning. Somebody got on base, and then Pujols hit a 2-run homer to take the lead. That was like rinse. We did that like 5 or 6 times in September last year. It was ridiculous.
But if all you have to show for, if you can't, like, how do you not make an NLDS at least with that core?
Mm-hmm.
And most,
I mean, yeah, we ran into Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, but like,
I mean, to be completely fair, you did lose to the team that made the World Series. But
I mean, that Phillies team was definitely built for the postseason, but that's not an excuse. Like, the fact, like,
well, I was going to say too, like,
Jose Quintana was great for us, but the fact that he was starting game 1 of the playoffs for us, it was a joke.
And I was even going to say too, like, okay, disregard last year. You should have at least made an NLDS appearance in the past couple years before that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at least something.
I mean, 2021, I'm going to say it. Looking back on it, we shouldn't have fired Schilt. Because what he did with that 2020, hot take, I know. What he did with that 2021 team, extremely impressive.
Yeah, no,
at least with the starting rotation. Schilt would be able to manage the starting rotation. Guarantee it. Why? Because Wade LeBlanc was his fucking ace for a month in 2021. Wade LeBlanc was our best pitcher for a month.
Bring back John Lester and J.A. Happ.
Yeah, Mo went out and got 2 fucking 40-year-olds, and we had a goddamn retirement home in the second half of the year, and Schilt put together a 17-game winning streak. Now, should Schilt have absolute, like, I am completely fine with Schilt getting canned, because the moment that he brought in Alex Reyes.
The Alex Reyes fiasco, he couldn't, there was no coming back from that.
No. Like, the moment that I saw Alex Reyes, I'm like, yeah, well, season's over. Like, literally the moment that I saw him grab a ball in the bullpen, I was like, all right, so we're just throwing this game away. We don't care.
Yeah.
And I didn't hate how he managed that game, because I was fine with leaving in Wainwright for another inning. And then Luis Garcia was great. And so was TJ McFarland. That, honestly, 2021 was a really fun year. I'm going to be real. That was a fun team, because you just had TJ McFarland. Newt Barr came onto the scene for the first time. I saw a stat earlier tonight. The Cardinals are I think they're 28-35 without Lars Nootbaar since the beginning of last year. So when Nootbaar is probably going to come back for that Pirate series, So if he comes back and he looks great and he like just provides a spark, because I genuinely think that he is like the centerpiece of our, like he is one of the centerpieces of our locker room. So if he comes back and he starts playing well, then and then I think that the team's going to look a lot better. And I think having him against the Braves, we would have at least took one game, I feel like, because Newbar is a really damn big presence on this team. And if our outfield alignment would be Newbar and right, Carlson in center, Walker and left, great. I would love that. That is my dream alignment. And then you sprinkle in O'Neill and Burleson whenever somebody needs an off day.
Yeah, and we do have to take into account the fact that they're without Newbar right now and they're without Wainwright. Like Newbar is a bigger deal than Wainwright, but like Wainwright,
sure.
you'd like to see him over some of the stuff we've seen. So but I don't even know if that moves the needle that much to where you feel that much better about this Cardinals team, because
I really don't, because like our offense, our lineup is so fucking deep. Like our AAA team, like our AAA lineup could compete as an MLB team right now and probably win a couple games. Like if they had the most average starting rotation of history, and just had like a 4.00 ERA or some shit, I guarantee you that our AAA lineup would, and like our AAA lineup and our bench would do really fucking good.
Yeah.
But just how fucking abysmal our starting pitching is. And I don't see it changing anytime soon. I mean, I've said this already, but with like we have gone through the rotation twice already. And nobody has stood out. And Mike Liss just had his third horrible start in a row. I don't expect Flaherty to look good tomorrow. I don't expect like Montgomery's going to beat up on the Pirates and that everybody's going to claim that he's our ace. Who gives a fuck? And I don't even know if we beat up on the Pirates because they look like a solid team right now. I said that they were going to look like a solid team, and they have. They beat the Astros. They looked really fucking good against Boston, and they won 2 out of 3 against Chicago, the White Sox.
If I'm Bill DeWitt, and I know he would never do this, but if I'm Bill DeWitt,
I'm selling your team.
But I'm printing out that quote that he had about having 6 starting pitchers. I'm going up to him, putting it in his face and saying, yeah, you're fired.
And we gave him a fucking extension before the season started.
Yeah, I remember we made that podcast too before the season whenever he said the payroll was going up. I remember you were excited and I was like, yeah, I'm skeptical what he really means by this. Is he going to like spend big or payroll going up?
Because Mo never says shit like that. He never just comes out and openly says, we're going to do this. We're going to go out and get this. Like he literally said that they were looking for a left-handed starting pitcher, that they were looking for a left-handed bat, and that they were going to get a catcher because catcher was top priority. And then they were going to look for some bullpen arms. They got a catcher. That's it. They got nothing else.
Yeah, they made that was Mo's one big move.
He got cold feet and just didn't sign anybody. And
that was
he came out and said, okay, we're waiting for next year, because like looking at the pitchers for next year, it's fucking insane how many good ones there are. And if we could knock out 2 birds with 1 stone and go out and get Ohtani, fucking pipe dream. But him and Newbar seem to be friends. And then like Ohtani just seems he fits the Cardinal way. But there's absolutely no shot in hell that we would ever get Ohtani if we don't do something good this year. Like
that's not even a bidding war that I think Mo would get into.
Exactly. Like it's a fucking pipe dream, but it's possible. Like we have the fucking money. We're second. Like the Cardinals are second in ticket sales. They're second in TV ratings, but they're 16th in fucking payroll.
Yeah, and usually the way it works is if you're not at least like top 12 in payroll.
Yeah, we looked
at a World Series
before the season started.
Yeah,
like no team with a payroll under 12 has won the World Series in the past decade or longer.
Yeah. And then if you go beyond that, there's like one team I think that won the World Series that was like lower than 12. But so Mo, going back to him real quick, it seemed like the Contreras move was like that was his piece of meat that he threw to the Wolves being Cardinals fans. He's like, okay, there you go. And that's just kind of, that was his one move. Like, it seems like he did that with Goldschmidt and Arenado. Like, that was the one move. And he's like, okay, there you go. Be happy. Shut up. When the team clearly needed more. But yeah, if I'm Bill DeWitt, I'm showing him that picture and being like, okay, you're fired. Because it's one thing to say that and you have like 3 good starting pitchers and the rest of the rotation just isn't good. But to say you have 6 starting pitchers and it's very clear you don't even have fucking one, like that, like you can't say like that. That's a quote that can get you fired, or it should, if you're a competently run organization, I should
And
say.
here's the thing with baseball nowadays. You're going to have starters get hurt and injured, and you're going to need, guess what? You're going to need more than 6 starters in today's MLB.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, you are definitely going to need more than 6 quality starting pitchers that can go out and give you good, solid innings. You need more than that today. And we don't have that. The only guys that we could possibly have coming in are Liberatore, Wainwright, and what's his name? It's not going to be Tinkins because he's in Double-A, even though he looks really fucking good. I think it's McGreevy or Graceffo. Yeah, it's Graceffo. He's looked good in Triple-A, but it is way too early to bring him up.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We're betting on all of these in-house names, and we're setting ourselves up for another fucking position where we trade for 2 left-handed relievers with the first name, with their first letter of their first name being J. Because the last 2 years, that's what we've done. We traded for Jose Quintana and Jordan Montgomery, both left-handers with the first letter of their first name being J, and then we traded for J. Happ and John Lester the year before. So this year we're going to trade for Jesus Luzardo because we have a fucking obsession with talking to the fucking Marlins about their pitchers.
Yeah. Yeah, that Alcantara guy is pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe they could get him.
That you know that Zach Gallen guy? He did pretty good against the Brewers. I wonder what organization he came from.
Gave him up for Marcelo Zuna, the big bear, the big bat.
Royals
Deadbirds
could use
him. Ozuna would be a good signing for a team like the Royals, though.
I think that he'd be. Oh, the Royals need an outfielder bad, just somebody that can come in and play every single day.
Yeah, Ozuna. But anyway, back to the Deadbirds. So, yeah, it definitely seems like they're obsessed with their little in-house candidates. They are very stubborn when it comes to going outside of the organization, paying any sort of premium for a guy. We heard they were a mystery team on Rodon in the offseason. I'm not sure how much truth there was to that. But even after you missed on him, like, what was the backup plan? Because clearly there was none.
I don't know.
That's what it looks like to us fans. And speaking of AA and AAA, since you were talking about that, I think that's where Andrew Kisner belongs.
Oh, yeah. No, you're giving him way too much credit. That motherfucker needs to be sent down to Palm Beach.
Yeah, he is not an MLB catcher.
No, he's fucking atrocious. Probably going to get blocked by him on Twitter for saying that. Because he seems to have an obsession with just blocking literally every single Cardinals fan on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, but he'll let the pitches get right by him when he's behind the plate. Interesting.
I like Kisner coming up, and being a backup catcher, I never thought that he was going to be a successor to Yachty, but I thought that he'd be a solid backup catcher for us for like 6 years. But nope, he's cooked. He's gone.
That's kind of how I felt about the starting rotation.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it would be this bad. Like, I thought it would be solid. Yeah. It just hasn't been.
I think we've touched on almost every player. Goldschmidt and Arenado, you know exactly what you're going to get out of them. Gorman's look great. Donovan looks a little shaky. I'm a little worried that his average is going to take a massive hit. We know what we're getting with Tommy Edman, and I love every bit of that from him. We need to see more Dylan Carlson. Jordan Walker's been a lovely addition. I didn't think that he was going to be able to start the year off strong, and I didn't think that he should start the year in the majors, but he's been a great surprise to see him succeed like this. He needs to move up in the lineup. Burleson's been good for what he's done. I don't really like seeing him play. Juan Yepes needs to get more playing time. O'Neal's looked completely lost at the plate. Wilson's looked completely lost at the plate, but he's hit the ball hard a couple times. Can't wait to get Newt Bar back. And yeah.
Yeah, no, I think we touched on pretty much everything. So hopefully the next episode we do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. Well, I mean, like me being like a closeted sort of Cardinals fan, I don't really care if they win. Honestly, if they don't win, it makes this more entertaining, more fun to do. That's why I was rooting for the Rockies tonight. But I mean, hopefully, I guess for the viewers' sake and your sake, the Deadbirds will be heading in a more positive direction in the next
Fuck
episode.
Mo, fuck Ollie, fuck Dusty Blake. Fuck
Well,
the entire managerial staff. Literally everybody in the front office besides Randy Flores can go fuck themselves.
there you have it, Deadbirds fans. So,
Yep.
with all that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Cardinals fans can find this. And make sure you follow Show Me Baseball. It's at Show Me Baseball, isn't it?
Yes. At Show Me Baseball on Twitter.
On Twitter for more Cardinals content. But with all that being said, we will see you all in the next one.